My name is Bright, and I'm going to be your guide for the next minute. So before we begin, we are going to take a brief history as an introduction to the tour of the slave dungeons. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. Speak. Alright, so this is the Elmina. You can have it. Yeah, you don't. This is the Elmina slave dungeon. Okay. I'm saying a slave dungeon because we're calling this very structure a castle. But we're not calling the prison a castle. Hope I'm not confusing. Yeah, the prison is the prison. The cell is the cell. So why are we calling it a castle? The slave dungeon. So the Elmina slave dungeon, or the St. George's slave dungeon. So this was first built by the Portuguese in the year 1482. But they first arrived in the year 1471. And history is saying they came to trade and also spread the Christian gospel. Now the system of the trade at the time was barter. Okay, so they accompanied with them European merchandise, like mirror, brandy, clothes, guns, and gunpowder, in exchange for mainly gold, ivory, and spices. So it was due to the rate at which they received gold from our ancestors that gave them the impression that the land was full of it, but the people had it in abundance. So they gave the name in Portuguese as Damina de Ouro, which means the coast of gold mines. So that is how the name Gold Coast was derived. And the Elmina, also European, Portuguese, which means the mines. So the original name of this town is Anomansa, which means inexhaustible supply of water, due to a lagoon which was discovered by our forefathers. And that was the main inspiration why they settled on the land. So the town we are seeing here today is about 700 years old, which is even older than the United States itself. So 11 years later, that is 1482, they raised this very structure to serve as a symbol of their monopoly here in Gold Coast. And after the construction, they continued with their noble trade in gold until the early 16th century, when the system of trade had returned from trading gold to human slavery. Okay, so the dungeons we are going to see today, in actuality, did not start as dungeons, but rather warehouses, the point where they used to hold the gold and the ivory. So when the slave trade started, all the warehouses became slave dungeons. And at minimum, these dungeons were holding 1,000 enslaved Africans for every 3 months. So ancestors had to be in the dungeons for 3 months because they had to wait for the slaves to arrive. Okay, and so it was an advantage for them because they had to break them for easy control, looking at the conditions in the dungeon, the toilet, the urine, and all that. And that was the same dungeon in which they were being fed. Due to this, they became vulnerable to incurable diseases, and the mortality rates in the dungeon were very high. And again, in 1637, this became the headquarters for the Dutch West India Company. Now, prior to their relationship in Europe, these two were rivals, the Dutch and the Portuguese. So the Dutch joined the trade here in Gold Coast in the year 1598. 1612, 1625, they made 2 huge attacks against the Portuguese in Elmina, the Dutch failed, until 1687. And the English came all the way to raise the Cape Coast Slave Dungeon as their headquarters. So the difference between these two structures is that they started as a warehouse and later became a slave dungeon. But that was both purposely to hold slaves. And finally in 1833, it was all abolished in their colony in sub-Saharan Africa. So when that happened, the Dutch lost interest in trading in Gold Coast. 1872, they ceded or sold all their possessions here in Gold Coast to the British. So this became the sub-administrative setup for the Brits. And during the Second World War, which was 1939 to 1945, they recruited young men from all the English-speaking West African countries, brought them to these structures and trained them as soldiers. So some of these men were sent to Burma, which is today Myanmar, and India to fight for the British. And after the war, they were honored as the Royal West African Frontier Forces. In 1957, Ghana became independent. So as it stands now, this very structure is 541 years, and is the largest and the oldest European building in the whole of sub-Saharan Africa, in connection to the transatlantic slave trade. So the reason why there was a shift from trading gold to human slavery was due to the discovery of America, by Christopher Columbus. So after his discovery, he realized the economic potential of the land. So it was an advantage for them to extend their plantations to these areas. So these enterprises were tobacco, sugarcane, cotton, and indigo. But the Indians were subjected to the work, and due to brutality, European disease, and other hard-working conditions, their population got decimated, which affected productivity. So now we have to find a new source of labor, a replacement to the Indians, and it was a priest that suggested that Africans should try. So that's why they converted the warehouse into slave land. But the first set of Africans to work on the plantations in the diaspora, which was then the Dominican Republic and Hispaniola, which we call today Haiti, were not taken from Africa. They were taken from Europe to that point, which means the Africans were already in Europe, even before the beginning of the transatlantic slave trade. So the Portuguese arrived here in 1471, but somewhere 1441, 1445, they were capturing Africans from Senegal, Gambia, to Lisbon, saying they were going to convert them into missionaries, bring them back to Haiti, as far as the vision was, but they never came back. Okay. Yes. And so during the 8th centuries, I don't know if you heard the name the Moors, okay, or the Black Moors. So these were a group of Africans that moved out from Senegal, to Mauritania, from Mauritania to Morocco. They crossed the Mediterranean and conquered Spain. They ruled Spain for about 700 years, together with the Arabians. Okay, so Spain, there was nothing called Spain at the time. Spain just happened in 1485 due to the marriage of two monarchs, Isabella of Castile and Ferdinand of Aragon. And they had to expel all the Moors and the Arabians back to North Africa. Now those that converted into Christianity became the low-class citizens. Okay, so all these men from the 8th century or 711 AD and from 1441 to 1445, these Africans were taken to the Dominican Republic and Hispaniola. So when they realized that Africans were a better alternative, that's why the Portuguese started with the slave trade somewhere early 1525, 1530. And they were taken to the southern part of America and the New World. And this went on for 400 years and became widely known as the transatlantic slave trade, or the West Transatlantic slave trade. These are brief introductions. If you have any questions, you can ask them. Are we good?